Good evening, students. Welcome to the GST and Customs Act subject class. Today, we are going to discuss about the process of levying and collecting the GST on imports. How the imports are being taxed in India after enactment of goods and service tax from July 1st, 2017. These aspects we try to learn in this class. So let us start the session. The government of India rolled out goods and services tax to overcome the challenges faced by the taxpayers under previous indirect tax regime. You know, before enactment of GST Act, there were several problems faced by the business people as well as the customers. So these problems have been enact, controlled or reduced after enactment of the GST. The issues like tax on tax and multiple taxes resulted in taxpayers paying higher taxes. Furthermore, increased compliance with regard to filing multiple tax returns led to delays and increased non-payment of taxes. So in the before GST Act, all these problems were there before enactment of GST. With the advent of GST, the government is on the path of bringing a common national market with unified tax rates. Further, it has been able to reduce tax compliance and simplify return filing by going online with GST. Although this has led to increased transparency and easy return filing relatively to previous tax regime, there is still a whole lot that government intends to do over time via modifications in the GST Council meetings. So after introduction of GST, the government could solve several problems and made everything online. So the transparency has increased in the indirect tax system. Still there are certain problems associated with GST implementation. So government is trying to solve these problems in the GST Council meetings. What is the nature of supply in case of imports? So now in this class we try to learn the what is imports, what is the nature of imports, how the import of goods have been taxed under GST, how the services are taxed under GST, all these things we try to learn. So nature of supply. Our Indian Constitution, Article 269A of the Constitution provides for the nature of supply of goods and services imported into India. As per this article, any supply in the course of import into India shall be taken as supply in the course of interstate trade. So the import means, as per the constitution, any goods taken into India or bring into India is considered as an import, and these imports are treated on par with the interstate transactions or interstate trade. So in case of interstate trade, we levy IGST. So in the same manner, on imports, the IGST will be levied. Here supply includes the supply of goods or services or both. So supply means, in case of supply, the supply of goods as well as services and both. In other words, any imports made into India would be deemed as interstate supplies under GST. So imports are equally treated with interstate supply. So interstate supplies are levied and collected the IGST, and in the same manner imports will also attract the IGST. And integrated goods and service tax shall be levied on such supplies, since imports are treated as interstate supplies. Okay. Section 7, subsection 2 of the IGST Act further provides that any supply of imported goods that takes place before such goods cross India's customs frontiers are deemed as interstate supplies. So any goods or services which cross the borders of India and enter into Indian frontier, customs frontier, then they are considered as the interstate supplies, and IGST will be levied on those goods and services. The goods and service tax divides all sales into two types of transactions. We have learned in the previous classes also, there are basically two types of transactions under GST. One is intra-state transactions and another one is interstate transactions. Okay, so imports are treated as interstate sales. So imports are treated as interstate sales or interstate supplies, which means that they are subject to integrated goods and service tax, because interstate supplies are being taxed by the IGST. In the same manner, imports are also levied and collected the IGST. That means when you import products, you pay one IGST rate to the central government. So if you import goods or products into India, then you will pay IGST to the central government. The money is then split between the central and your state government, which is considered on the basis of the place of supply. That's why you don't need to worry about paying separate state and central taxes. So the importer has to pay IGST to the central government, and this money, whatever the IGST paid on imports to the central government, that money will be distributed between the central and imported state. Therefore, the importer need not pay separate tax to the state government and the central government. That's what the understanding of IGST. Now, what is import of goods under GST? It is the process of import of goods under GST. As per the IGST Act 2017, import of goods is defined as bringing goods into India from a place outside India. So that's the definition given under the IGST Act 2017 regarding the imports. Import of goods means bringing goods into India from outside India. Now let us understand how the import of goods are taxed under GST given this definition in the background. So the import of goods, how the import of goods are taxed. IGST is charged on imports since such supplies are deemed as interstate supplies. Okay, so this is in addition to the applicable customs duty. That means on imported goods, IGST will be levied. This IGST is in addition to the customs duties and taxes levied by the Customs Act. This is an additional tax. Okay, Section 5, subsection 1 of the IGST Act provides for circumstances when IGST would be applicable. It states IGST is charged on all interstate supplies, goods or services or both, except the supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption, provided IGST on import would is charged. So, as per section 5, subsection 1 of IGST Act, IGST would be charged. IGST will be charged on all interstate transactions except on supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption, and collected according to the provisions of section 3 of the Customs Tariff Act 1975 on such value as is decided under Tariff Act at a time when duties of customs are charged on such goods under Customs Act 1962. So after charging the customs duties, whatever the customs duties and customs levies, after charging those custom duties and taxes, the IGST is levied on the imported goods. The above provision suggests that IGST is collected and paid only along with customs duty. Okay, so customs duty and taxes are to be paid. IGST is not substitute for the customs duty. Along with customs duty, IGST will be levied. In other words, it cannot be collected any time before. That means unless the customs duties are collected, the IGST cannot be collected. Custom duty is collected and paid only at the time goods clear customs frontier. So as and when you import goods from some other country, when it reaches the India, the goods will goes to the custody of customs offices. So after clearing all the customs duties and taxes, then only the IGST will be levied. Thus, IGST on import of goods is charged in addition to the basic customs duty. So IGST is in addition to the basic customs duty. Basic customs duty is charged on goods that are imported into Indian territories under the Customs Tariff Act. So basic customs duty is charged on the goods, whatever the goods that are imported to India from outside India. Further, in addition to IGST and BCD, GST compensation cess is also charged on certain luxury and demerit goods under GST Cess Act 2017. Apart from IGST and basic customs duties, GST compensation cess is also levied on certain luxury and demerit goods because they are anti-dumping charges on certain luxury and demerit goods. This GST compensation cess also will be levied as per the GST Cess Act 2017. How are IGST and cess levied on imported goods? So let us see how the IGST and cess is calculated on imported goods. Take for example, IGST is charged on goods imported into India in addition to the basic customs duty. Hence, the value of goods for calculating IGST is taken as value of goods for calculating IGST. For the purpose of calculating IGST, what are the things that are clubbed together? Value of goods for calculating IGST is equal to the assessable value of goods plus basic customs duty plus any other duty chargeable on the goods in question under any law for the time being in force. So these three values will be clubbed together for calculating the IGST. Similarly, the value of goods on which GST cess is calculated is the same. That means the same three variables will be considered for calculating the GST compensation cess also. So value of goods for calculating GST cess is equal to the assessable value of goods plus basic customs duty plus any other duty chargeable under the any law for time being in force. So whatever the value on which IGST is calculated, on the same value the GST cess will also be calculated. As you can see, the IGST is not added to the assessable value of the goods for calculating GST cess. So both IGST and GST cess, same value is considered. Let us consider an example to understand how IGST is calculated on import of goods. So if you see an example how the IGST and compensation is calculated, then you will be able to understand the process of calculation of IGST. So the example for calculating IGST on import of goods. Say for example, the value of goods imported into India is 10,000 rupees. So we are importing 10,000 rupees value of goods into India. Following are the rates of duties and taxes leviable on such imported goods. So on imported goods, the following are the various taxes. What are those? A. Basic customs duty, 10% is to be paid. Education cess, 3%. IGST at the rate of 18%. Compensation cess at the rate of 15%. Okay, so these are the various duties and taxes leviable on import of goods. Now let us see the calculation part, how these calculations are made. So assessable value is equal to 10,000. Assessable value means the value of goods imported to the India is 10,000 rupees. We are importing 10,000 rupees of goods. Okay. So on 10,000 rupees of goods, we have to pay basic customs duty. What is the rate of basic customs duty? 10%. Okay. So 10% on 10,000. How much? 1,000 rupees. 1,000 basic customs duty. Next, we have to pay the education cess also. The education cess also is to be paid. This education cess is 3%. 3% on what? 3% on customs, basic customs duty. It is not on assessable value. Education cess is to be calculated on basic customs duty. Basic customs duty is 1,000. 1,000 into 3 by 100 is equal to 30 rupees. Okay. So the value on which IGST is charged is 11,030 rupees. That means the value of goods is 10,000, basic customs duty 1,000, education cess 30 rupees. The total of these three items is 11,030 rupees. So this 11,030 rupees is value on which IGST is charged. So 11,030 into 18% IGST, no? So 18 by 100, that comes around 1,985 rupees 40 pies. That was the IGST calculated. IGST to be paid. Now, what is the value on which compensation is charged? So the compensation cess also is calculated on the same value, which is calculated for the purpose of IGST. So the 11,030. Okay. So the compensation cess is 15%. So 11,030 rupees into 15 by 100, that comes around 1,654.5 pies. Okay. So that's a compensation cess. Next. So total duty to be paid. What is the total duty? Total taxes paid by the importer. It is 4,669 rupees 0.90. 4,669 rupees and 90 pies. How this amount has been derived? 1,000 is the basic customs duty plus 30 rupees education cess. Next, IGST 1,085.4 plus compensation cess 1,654.5. So altogether it comes around 4,669 rupees 90 pies. That means if you import 10,000 rupees of goods into India, you have to pay 4,669 rupees in various tax forms. Total tax or total duty to be paid. It must be noted that there are certain imported goods on which anti-dumping duty or safeguard duty is also charged. Not only these taxes or levies, but also on certain goods, anti-dumping duty and safeguard duty will also be levied by the customs officers. on certain products only. In such case, the value of goods for the purpose of calculating both IGST and cess would also include anti-dumping duty or safeguard duty. So the same values, that means these two will be clubbed here itself. Here, after calculating education cess, the anti-dumping charges and safeguard duty both will be calculated, and these two will be clubbed for the purpose of calculating the IGST. So value of goods for calculating IGST and compensation cess is equal to the assessable value of goods plus basic customs duty plus any other duty chargeable on the goods in question under any law for time being in force plus anti-dumping duty plus safeguard duty. After clubbing these 5 items on that value, IGST will be prepared. Now here it comes around. Suppose in this same example, if there is a anti-dumping duty 2000, safeguard duty 1000, so total 3000. That means 11,030 plus 3000, 14,030 rupees. On 14,030 rupees, you have to calculate the IGST. Okay, so that's how the calculations will take place. Then, as per the ITC, input to tax credit, is there any opportunity for the importer to claim input to tax credit in case of imports? Yes, there is a chance. The importer can claim the credit of the IGST and compensation cess paid at the time of imports. So whatever the IGST and the compensation cess paid by the importer, he can claim for the input tax credit. Further, he can utilize such a credit to make payment of taxes on his outward supplies. So moreover, he can utilize this input to tax for payment of output supplies. Both IGST and compensation cess can be utilized towards making payment on taxes for outward supplies. However, the ITC of compensation cess can be used only for the payment towards compensation cess. So IGST can be utilized as a input tax credit, but compensation cess cannot be utilized for payment of output cess. Further, as per IGST Act, the place of supply of imported goods is taken as location of the importer. So importer means the person in which state he is doing business. So that is considered as a importing place. If the importer is located in Maharashtra, the state tax portion of the IGST is given to the state of Maharashtra. So if the importer is in Maharashtra, automatically the portion of IGST, the central government will pay some portion of IGST to the Maharashtra government. Next, import of service. What do you mean by import of service and what is the procedure? The IGST Act 2017 defines import of services as the supply of any service where the supplier of said service is located outside India, recipient of the said service is located in India, place of supply of the said service is in India. So these three conditions are to be fulfilled. If any service is to be considered as an import, the supplier should be outside India, recipient should be within India, and the place of supply should be within India. Further, The nature of service imported, its underlying consideration and purpose determine if a particular import of service can be treated as supply. Here are various scenarios defining whether an import of service is deemed as a supply. Okay, so as far as the services are concerned, there are different scenarios where the services may be considered as import or not. The first case, in the first case, there is an importer of services. Further, such an import is for consideration, but may or may not be for furtherance of business. So in this case, the importer has paid as imported services by paying the money, but that service may not be for his business purpose. But in that case, the services are considered as a supply of services. Okay. Next, this implies that any import of service that takes place without consideration is not considered as a supply. It is not necessary. So, import of service in exchange of consideration is done for the furtherance of business. Therefore, the whether the imports are for consideration or not, they are considered as a supply. And second case, second example, say there is an import of service by a taxable person from a related or distinct person as defined in section 25 of CGST Act 2017. Further, such an import of service is in furtherance of business and may or may not be undertaken for consideration. Such an import of service also considered as a supply. That means if any trader imports services from his relatives or distinct persons without paying any money or without paying consideration, that also will be considered as a import of services. That means the service, whether you pay money or not, it is imported. This the purpose of import of service may be for furtherance of business or may not be for the furtherance of business, may be for personal use. In that case also, that will be considered as a import of service. So on import of services, IGST will be calculated, IGST will be levied. All import of services are subject to integrated tax under IGST Act 2017. The importer of services thus is liable to pay IGST on reverse charge basis, because if there is a situation where sometimes the importer may buy goods from the unregistered trader, so in that case the importer has to pay IGST to the government as per reverse charge mechanism. Okay. Suppose if any unregistered person has imported goods from some other country, then that person who is supplying services has to pay IGST to the government. If he is unable to get registration, he has to appoint a separate person, a special person, to pay taxes to the Indian government. Okay, so this is done to make sure that importer is not required to pay IGST while removing goods from customs station to warehouse. So this is due to, if the importer has not paid IGST, automatically the customs officers will not deliver or will not give delivery to the services. Okay, so this is all about the GST on services. These are the various procedures and calculations followed under the import of goods under GST. Okay, so thank you very much for attending the class, and all of you, I once again appeal all of you to motivate the other people to attend more and more online classes, because the government is insisting 90% attendance for online classes. In the morning also I have shared you one message sent by the Commissioner of College Education. The online classes attendance should be more than 90%. So I request you to cooperate in this regard, and inform our friends to attend more and more for the online classes. So thank you very much. నెంబర్ పోస్ట్ చేసిన వాళ్ళు ఎగ్జిట్ అయిపోండి. నెంబర్ పోస్ట్ చేయని వాళ్ళు పోస్ట్ చేసి ఎగ్జిట్ అయిపోండి.